And it was because I was in there, because I knew we could attach cryptocurrency to a Minecraft server. And then I started learning about all these NFTs. I realized that we could make the NFTs a land deed for particular areas in a Minecraft server. And so we started doing the metaverse thing before anyone in the media was talking about it. By about 8 months.
That's pretty cool.
Yeah, it was.
Hi, I'm Bette Hochberger, CPA, CGMA. This channel aims to educate you on tax, tech, crypto, and finance-related news. Come learn how to grow and keep your wealth.
And on today's very special Finance Friday, I have, what do we call you? Infamous?
Sure.
Are you infamous yet?
Yes. I mean, I am now. I think the second anyone uses it instantaneously, that's when you actually become infamous.
That's you become what? All right, you were the infamous Cottrell from the UpLift DAO. And for many people who are going to be watching it on your end, they know all about this.
It's true.
Maybe a fraction of people on my end, they just know Bette talks about crypto all the time. We don't know anything about it, but as soon as someone says the word crypto, that's our indicator to say, here, talk to Bette.
Yeah, it was fun. Like being ahead is the only time that's ever really happened. So, and really, like we're sitting, we've got the whole.
That's bleeding edge. That's not, right? That's not like, oh, I'm at the forefront. No, like you were in front of the forefront. Is that a thing?
Yeah, we caught the very beginning part of the upswing of it. It was good timing, right? Like that. I've done all sorts of entrepreneurial stuff my entire life. I've never had the right timing until now, which is fun. You just got to keep plugging away until you're just kind of sitting in it. But yeah, so we're sitting kind of at the, what I think the tagline was, we put cryptocurrency, NFTs, and Minecraft and metaverse in a blender, and that's how you get the uplift.
Yeah, I think that's a pretty good description of what it is, right?
Yeah, so people can own NFTs, and that means you own, the land. You have full building rights on the land, and people are building NFT galleries and shops and just houses for themselves to hang out in, and they're having a blast. It's going pretty well.
So, okay, we take a step back for those who don't quite understand what this whole NFT is, right? Because I hear people all the time like, isn't it a picture?
Right.
No, I mean, it could be part of it. It could involve artwork. Right. Yes, and exactly. So, we kind of have had these little blurbs of like two sentence conversations online. But for me, what I think is so interesting about NFTs is, there's some like digital art and there's people doing cool things, but it's like, that's the surface layer.
Mm-hmm.
Right. And you touched on, you said like, okay, NFT, you own a piece of land. So if we own an NFT in the UpLift metaverse Minecraft world that you created, what do we own if we have an NFT here?
So and you guys will, right? Because you guys are going to have land in our Ethereum drop, which is super fun, right? So like when we mint those, we'll send the NFT to your crypto wallet, right? And that'll be your passport into the world. You can actually in our back office, you can whitelist I think up to 8 people to come in and hang out there. Whether you get like builders to come in and build stuff for you or what have you, right? So it works that way, and it gives you permanent build rights to that plot. Like nobody else can change anything there except for you and the people that you whitelist. So nobody can build and nobody can break anything. You have the sort of God mode powers in that piece of land so you can do stuff, right? And everybody can go anywhere, right? So people can travel and come and visit and see whatever billboards we put up for you, that kind of thing, right? So that you get some foot traffic and create some experiences or whatever. But it basically is your deed to that place. It means that only you can build there.
So it's cool. It's like you own virtual land, right? If I bought a building in the real world, right, and I would have a deed to that, presumably something like that. Or if you're renting space from someone, you sort of own it for a time being, sort of.
Right.
And it's mine and I can do what I want. And it's the same idea.
Mm-hmm.
It's just virtual. So what are some really cool things that people are doing with their NFT land?
Yeah, I mean, by far the coolest ones are some of the NFT and art galleries that have been going up for me. And we've got a bunch of videos up on our YouTube page that are just I didn't see that coming when we started this at all, because we can put it's Minecraft, but we can put high def images up in with our installers, So those things. And then I think like some of the crazier sort of experience things that people are building are really fun. Like there's ice boat raceways and stuff, where basically just think like giant, it kind of reminds me of like a water park kind of vibe, right? So like you climb all the way to the top and you get in your wooden boat, and like the wooden boats kind of race around very dangerously on ice in Minecraft, right? So then you just like everybody races down, and it's a big event thing, and people have way too much fun doing it, frankly. Like it's I suck at
you know what though, that gave me such a great idea. I think whatever we end up building on our little plot of land, I think at the top I want to build a roller coaster on top of my building.
Yep.
Because you might not know this about me, I'm actually an enormous roller coaster enthusiast.
Yes. Do you want me to put you in touch with?
Life,
Go ahead.
What? I would say my previous life, when I was fancied myself to be an engineer, I wanted to build actual roller coasters. That was my dream job. Turns out there's not a lot of companies that do such things. And then I kind of switched gears, and now I'm an accountant, which is much more boring. But like I was at Six Flags Great Adventure the other day, rode every single roller coaster. Then I had to download an app because now I have to keep track of all the roller coasters I've been on. I took like a little hiatus when my kids were little. We didn't go too many places. We went to Universal. Number one, in my opinion, roller coaster, the Velocicoaster. Side note, go to Universal, ride the Velocicoaster. The best one at Great Adventure was the Medusa. But I'm like, you know what I need as part of my building, I think, is I do need a roller coaster on the roof of my building.
I like that. I would highly recommend when we our sale's on the 16th, and it's going to be like a map, right? So, and your logo is going to be on there. You're going to be able to see where your land is. I highly recommend buying up as much land around your plot as you can. Then you can make it bigger. Even just like as you could still make one on your plot.
I could have my own theme park, huh?
Right? You totally could. But I'm going to send you a friend of mine, a block producer from EOS USA, built like the first thing he did when he got some land was built this massive roller coaster. So
amazing.
I'll see if I can find some video, or we'll visit there, whatever. And I was going to say, like, I can get you builders to build that stuff, but it sounds like maybe you should do this yourself, because like 5-year-olds can build in Minecraft. It's not hard. And I know we're all like super busy, but
wait,
you might
I have
really
a job.
enjoy it.
I have a job for my 12-year-old. She said if I pay her,
this is the way.
She does love her Minecraft. She is going to do it.
This is the way. Seriously, at least like half of the projects all hire their kids to do stuff, which is so fun. Like that's like, it's great labor.
Family business then. I want to take a couple step back to keep focus on a little bit on the businessy part of it. So you said buy up the land, right? Mm-hmm. For the uninitiated, how does one actually go in and purchase the land? Like, what are the mechanics to make this happen? Because it's not like, I'm just propping down my credit card and boom, right?
Right.
Or is it that easy?
Well, no, that's sort of like one of our back end goals for the year is to have that as a possibility. And I think that'll happen before Christmas, just to make it really easy. But right now, so we've got a lot of land on the Wax blockchain. You can buy it on the secondary market. The easiest thing to do is go to theuplift.world. It's our website. And hit getting started, and it walks you through everything from getting a Wax wallet to how to get on Atomic Hub or NFT Blocks, which is 2 NFT marketplaces, and buy it from there. Even like how to buy your first Wax if you want to do that, because it's actually really easy to do it from within the Wax cloud wallet now. So we've got all that stuff basically set up for you. So just go to theuplift.world and hit getting started, and it's got all the lists, because
So if anybody wants to go check out what this is, that'll be a great tutorial to how to do so. Because I'll be honest, there have been a couple of projects, not necessarily NFT, just like crypto things in general, where I'm like, this is cool. Let me get in when it's brand new because someone just told me about it.
Right.
And for the love of God,
hard.
I cannot even figure out how to do it.
PhD
like, how do I
for 100%?
like, take my money?
There's too many steps for us right now, right? Because it's friction, and that's definitely not good. There's too much steps for us right now as well, and we're doing a bunch of things to start solving for that. But yeah, and I guess the other piece of advice I'd give is we've got a bunch of links to join our Discord. Everybody in our Discord is super helpful. So you basically not only do you have the list, but like if there's any points where you're like, what the crap is this, I don't get it, there's people in our Discord all the time that absolutely love helping people get onboarded. So we're trying to, again, like all of this is very, very new. So we want to make sure that people, get as much hand holding as they want, frankly. And then, on the Ethereum thing, you want to get a MetaMask wallet, you want to get some Ethereum. Again, you'll just be able to go to our website on the 16th when we start this map-based sale and just click on a piece of land that you want and just buy it with Ethereum.
So as far as let's tie back to fiat, right? Because most people don't think in cryptocurrency values at this point. It might change in the future.
Who knows?
What do the pricings look like compared to US dollars for things? Just so people have a general idea. Like, I'm not going to hold you to the pricing, but
right, the floor on Wax is only about it's only about $30 right now. But it's a fairly thin floor, right? So if you go in and buy 20, you're going to be up in like the $50 range or whatever. And on Ethereum, the price is going to be about $50 worth of Ethereum, so 0.05, depending on what Ethereum is on that day.
Right,
it's in that range.
When you talk about the fiat to crypto, it's very fluid. It's right, and depending on what's going on, it's dynamic. It's dynamic. It's not chaos. It's just dynamic.
Yeah, it's framing.
But what's funny is like people, because I know I like do all this crypto accounting and tax stuff. They're like, "Oh, what do you think? It's crashing." And I'm like, "Have you looked at all the other markets all over the world? Like, what else is happening? It's not like everything else is fine."
Right.
So,
well, and
kind of
everybody
life right now.
And this is everybody who's, because this is my second crypto winter, right? And the first one, I think if you stick around, especially if you stick around the entire time, because most people just kind of leave and come back when it gets sexy again, right?
There's a giant bee flag around my no. I'm like, what the hell? It's enormous. It was like,
that is a killer bee.
It might be.
Oh no.
Anyway.
Yeah. So no dying. Dying is expressly forbidden. I don't even know what I was talking about. Something about Bitcoin. Annual lows, like that. All I ever needed to do was look at annual lows, because if you want to come in and like try and make money right now in the short term, don't. It's just, I don't know if it's going to go down or go up. Who knows? I have no idea. Nobody else does either. They're full of shit, right? But if you ask me if Bitcoin's price is going to be higher in 2.5 years than it is now, that's an easy bet. It's a really, really easy bet.
Yeah, pretty much. Do you want to talk about the DAO?
Sure. That's, I mean,
first off,
we actually did. So if you go on YouTube and search for the Uplifters, all one word, you'll get our YouTube channel. And it was yesterday that we did our first kind of deep dive, because we just started this DAO. Was it a month ago? Time is blurry.
First off, what's a DAO, right?
So
because a lot of people are like, I don't even know what that is.
Fair. So it's a decentralized autonomous organization. Some people have entertainingly described it as a chat group with a bank account.
I do like that, actually.
Right, it's a little bit more than that, but that's like kind of a fun fun thing. So it's basically it's a way to express, and you could probably describe this even better than I can, but like going through all of it, right? We're registered as a Wyoming DAO LLC, right? So we have a company.
Right. So it's an actual legal entity.
Correct. Right.
Legal
and it doesn't,
structure.
DAOs don't have to be, but we wanted to, really dive into, that part of it, because, we want to be part of the future of this stuff. And eventually it's all going to be regulated, and it's going to look something like this, we think, right? So, we want to kind of err on the right side of as many things as we can. And, maybe instead of having shares in that company, we have a DAO token, right? Which makes it instantaneously liquid on all markets. Our DAO token is on Ethereum, so we're already on Uniswap and right, which is definitely something that you don't get with normal sort of small businesses, at least that I've seen.
Right. It's actually quite hard to sell your ownership in a very small business.
100%. Right. Yeah, and this is like we have a liquidity pool, an LP pool already, right? And so you could go in and buy UpLift DAO token right now if you want. And then you can immediately start voting with it, which is sort of the two main things are, you have voting power, and then we're going to do revenue sharing down the road, which is kind of fun, and apparently will require 18 trillion K1 forms or something. Who knows?
So for me in the CPA world, where this is so fascinating. I think there's only 2 states in the country. It might be 1 or 2 more. And I don't understand why Florida is not one of them. So if somebody knows how to call up our illustrious Governor DeSantis and be like, hey, can you make it legal to form DAO LLCs in Florida? That'd be awesome.
I can only imagine that the mayor of Miami is probably going to end up getting into his ear.
Maybe I should call him first and be like, hey, can you call the governor and make this happen?
Let's get it done.
Because how are you the crypto capital of the world in Miami and not able to set up legal DAOs LLCs in Florida? I think it'll happen. I think we'll get there.
Yeah,
somebody will see this
100%.
And let him know.
It's right. Exactly. They clearly watch your show. And if they don't, they should. Everyone knows that. Yeah. So we've got gasless Wyoming voting. Sorry, go ahead.
I would say like Wyoming and I think Vermont, New Hampshire, somewhere.
I've seen a few now. Yeah. There's a couple more that will let popped up.
Yeah. Yep. And it's the way a DAO is different than just a regular LLC. When you have an LLC, you usually have a managing member, right? So everybody's a member in an LLC. It's the name. Like if you're in a corporation, your shareholders or stockholders, LLCs are members, and there's a managing member. So somebody's in charge. And with a DAO, kind of nobody's in charge, or everybody's in charge. I'm not sure.
Right. Well, that's right. Like so, on Ethereum, like you have your DAO token, then you can go to snapshot.org and hit the UpLift page, and then you can vote, right? And the coolest thing about how Snapshot works is you can do it without gas. Anybody who understands Ethereum at all, when you do a transaction on Ethereum, you have to pay gas fees, which can range from $7 to $700. It's completely absurd.
But it is a little absurd.
Right, it can be. It can whenever the network gets really busy, it gets insane. So yeah, you can go in and vote on basically everything that we do, right? We've got committees that have a fairly wide mandate, but for the most part, every single thing that we do, every decision that we take, all of our books are going to be, open to everybody in the DAO, actually open to everybody, right? And people are just going to be able to vote on the direction that it takes. Now, the team and I have basically veto power, but we've been very actively not using it, right? Because we want to make sure the community feels as engaged as humanly possible, and it's working, right? We went over some of the DAO proposals yesterday on our show. And it took us like an hour and a half, right? And half of them are from the team and stuff like, budget, how that is going to run. And
okay. So I was going to say, what are some examples of things that people are voting on? Budget. Right. Okay, so, that's pretty serious.
The way
give that budget, power to the people.
Right. The way the budget committee is gonna work. Yeah. We're voting on that. And Jen, who is part of the core team, wrote that up, and it's kind of awesome. Like I would never. There's too many awesome details. She's actually running the budget committee for us. But down to, we ratified whether or not to go on Ethereum, right? So we made the case, and we're going to go out and do that. And again, for me, that between the team and I, we have that veto power. But the whole point for me doing this is to capture in a bottle the amount of creativity and passion that people have for this, and really engage them. This is a very active thing that we want to do. And it's really working, right? There's a bunch of people that are starting to put in their own DAO proposals, and some of them are really good ideas, about, because we've got a play to earn function where you can earn Upliftium, which is our in-game token or whatever, right? And ways to kind of rebalance it and make it, kind of more accurately value the people that are in here actually, building and doing things, as opposed to getting passive rewards for people that own land and haven't been in a long time, right? And so, people put that proposal up, and it passed very easily. It was just a really good idea, right? And it kind of runs the gamut, right? And now we've got a roadmap that we call a non-linear roadmap, because after we do this Ethereum sale, we're going to actually vote on what we tackle next, right? So it's just, here's a list of things that we know we're going to be able to do from kind of a technical standpoint. Here's kind of the cost time basis that each one of these things is going to have. What do you guys all think that we should tackle next? And then we'll sort of prioritize that way.
That's pretty awesome. So my question is, because I'm always what's the downside here? How do you prevent the chaos from just taking over? Right? Is there a way to? Clearly you've got the veto power,
right? And some people's like, oh, it's not even a DAO because it's not flat. Those people don't know what a DAO is or how these things work. I've seen so many people say, okay, let's give 100 people equal power. Okay. That's dumb, right? And it turns into you're herding cats and nothing ever gets done, right? The second that people are trying to figure anything out, I've seen many people try and do that, and it's a commendable kind of democratic value, right? and it doesn't work. Right. And my goal is to, we have veto power right now between the team and I. At any point, we can basically backstop anything. Right. But it would take the entire community to come up with and back a really bad idea. And then like half the team to join them. Right. So
you'd have to convince a lot of folks that.
Right. And I mean, if there's that much contention, we have bigger problems. Right. Like that, and those things we would want to get those solved anyway, right? So I think just having it is sort of how we're doing that. And it's kind of like a startup too, right? If you had a startup and you had 10 partners and you needed to have perfect consensus on literally everything, nothing would ever happen. Right.
That is true. Right. And that's kind of the argument like against the whole idea of a DAO in some regards. Is like, well, if you need to have people that can say like, hey children, this is not the way to go, why aren't you just a regular LLC and then just let people vote?
Right. The main reason for that is that, like, to me anyway, that instantaneous liquidity on Ethereum. That's enough. Right. I mean, at any point, we could just like, hey, there you go. You don't like it, go sell your DAO tokens.
Right. So, and something else I think is interesting is, because we're talking about a group of people, and it's not like they're a group of people that. Does everyone who owns like Apple stock know each other? No, I mean, I guess theoretically you could, all get together somewhere.
Right. If you all hang out at the convention. Yeah. There's the core group of like Apple nerds. Yeah, makes sense.
Something like that. But once you're in like these DAOs, it's really a community, right? Because if I was like, I hate tech stuff, I hate Minecraft, I hate all these things, why would I be here? Right.
Yeah. You wouldn't really, unless you just wanted to, right. Like if you just wanted to buy the DAO token because you think there's a lot of alpha on them, you could do that if you wanted to. But yeah, the people that are in there because it's time, right? Like there's people, a good friend of ours who created the Rocket Gallery, which is like the first sort of NFT gallery that kind of blew our minds. There's a bunch of videos of it. He's actually making one in one of the Ethereum worlds. It's called the Rocket Gallery 2.0. It's really good. Anyway, like he came out yesterday and made a DAO proposal saying we shouldn't have any more land on Wax like ever, and that we should tell the admins to stop doing it. And because we have this thing where if you get 5 billion upliftium, which is a ridiculous amount of upliftium, you can buy a small map, right? And so we got to tell him like, and it's just an informational thing, right? He totally is for everything that we designed and are doing on Ethereum because he's part of it and he sees it, he gets it, right? He's been part of that conversation. But he didn't know that the vote for that map that we're going to sell for 5 billion upliftium, which again, our in-game token, got like 99.6% of the vote. Right. So like wasn't admins. Like this was me making my first proposal because I'd never done it before. And I want to figure out what this is like. Right. So I come up with this idea that we talked about on the show and I turn it into a Google Doc. And I actually put that Google Doc up for everybody in the Discord to edit if they wanted to. I watched that idea get 100 times better in 10 minutes. Like that was the most amazing thing for me. Like if you're not workshopping your DAO proposal, you're wasting your time, which is what he did. Right. And he just wasn't aware of all the, the amount of thought and direction and, community support that went into that. Right. And so, that vote's not going to get quorum and we're just going to ignore it.
It's kind of cool. So it's funny. It's almost like the self-regulation kind of works.
Yeah. And finding the balance is, that's the most kind of messed up thing. And thankfully we, have Chris Tuttle on our team who's sort of, I always want to describe her sort of like, my right-hand person, but like she basically is the brains behind the whole thing. I'm just like the talking idiot on the internet who has really fun ideas. She's like shockingly smart. Like her job before coming into crypto was designing DNA machines. Like she's like, like she sold a biotech startup. Yeah, like every day she comes to work with us at the UpLift. I'm like, what are you doing? It's crazy.
You say like a DNA machine, and my mind goes right to Jurassic Park. I'm like, oh, did she create dinosaurs?
No. I think machines that are actually made out of the DNA molecule. But sure, yeah. Also robots.
Oh, that's even crazier. Okay.
Yeah, it's nuts. Like it really, what she was doing was really
that's
intense.
Some sci-fi stuff right there. Yeah.
Right. Yeah, and also, and I'm not even kidding. Like on her hobby, if you ask her, is she's got if she doesn't have it already, she's getting one, like a gene sequencing machine for her house. because of course.
Oh, of course.
She's gonna save the bees, like just by herself. And like,
she doesn't need to save that giant one that attacked me just
right
now.
Yeah, no, screw that particular bee, but bees in general. Anyway, she had a lot of experience with DAOs, and we really lucked out, because like if it was just me trying to make this up, we'd still be on step 1, and I think we're probably at step 50 now, like just getting the initial rollout done and the tools to get it done, and sort of framing it the way we needed to frame it, so that we can capture as much of that creative energy and that community energy to bottle as we can, but also not just make it into herding a tornado of drunk cats. I think we're frozen.
Uh-oh.
You back?
Oh no, did we freeze?
Yep, you're good now.
With internet signals for some reason. Okay, so I don't think crypto's leaving. I don't think NFTs are leaving. I don't think any of the stuff is going away, right? What do you think is coming next? Where do you think this is going?
I think the idea that a lot of people are quick to sleep on is metaverse, because the first thing they're going to see is Facebook, and I think the idea is sort of a little ambitious or vague for some people, right? But if you watch, for us, we always describe the UpLift as Ready Player One version 1, right? I mean, that's where we're headed, minus the wage slavery. But that idea that you have a persistent world full of games and places and things that you own, and NFTs and cryptocurrency power that, mostly NFTs actually. I think that's a thing that for real is going to eat the world. And there's going to be a digital representation of everything that we do in this world, but in the digital space. It's like a 4-dimensional website, right? Like and it's persistent, and you have neighbors, and us hyper intelligent monkeys really kind of dig that, and we saw that right when we first started playing around with this, especially in the beginning of the pandemic. People were connecting not only with each other on a place, but to the actual place itself, right? We've got like historical monuments now in the UpLift that are important to us nerds.
Cool.
Yeah, it's weird. But yeah, so I think that, and then NFTs, you touched on it, like the JPEG thing it was kind of an adorable way to start. And I think the entertainment side, I think music NFTs are going to be huge, like really huge. But I also think that NFTs are going to swallow the entire title industry for real estate, because the title industry is ridiculous. And it's only a matter of time before.
Well, and what's going to take a while for that to happen is that, getting the lawyers to understand, or they're getting cut out.
Right. Well, I think
they have a big lobbying wing.
Right. But I mean, how many lawyers does it take to want to reinvent a $1 billion industry and take a slice of it? Right. Like there's so much incentive for somebody to Airbnb it or to Uber it. And then they're sitting on, Airbnb has more rooms than the hotel industry. Right. So like, it just depends on who's going to have the team that has the audacity to just make it happen. And they will end up doing really well. And then, real estate in general, I think the real estate, we've been talking about doing real estate DAOs. We've been talking about attaching
and they
NFTs.
Exist. They're out there.
Yeah, they're cropping up all over the place.
It.
Yeah, and I think it's just to start a real estate fund that way is really interesting. And again, like the instantaneous liquidity, I think is the thing, right? Because then it's just kind of governance, and you could do a bunch of fun things, and we can attach NFTs to it, and we're going to, because I think there's really fun ways to, if you're running like an Airbnb fund or whatever, you can send free stays out to your community as an NFT, right? And they can just go on the market and sell it if they don't want it, right? That instantaneous liquidity just exists all the way across the board now. And I think that's the thing that will have the most stickiness to it, is you just can't do that in meat space. It's just those markets don't exist.
Right.
And here it's easy.
Right.
Like it's really, really easy. And I think that's what's going to catch fire.
So for anyone who's kind of like lost as to what we're talking about, there are many NFT projects, I guess you would call them, where they're, on the very like surface, literally the surface, is there's the piece of artwork that represents the non-fungible token, which is what NFT stands for. And behind that you don't see, and although in the code, is you build what we call these smart contracts, and you can put in there like whatever you want into a smart contract. For example, we're talking about like music. You could say, if I'm a music artist and I'm releasing an NFT, you say it's just like even like a picture of my band, right? But on the back end, anytime it gets sold, I'm going to make a royalty and get like, 1% of the sale of this image of my band in perpetuity. It can get sold on all these markets, doesn't matter, can travel the whole world, wherever. Every time those transactions happen, it's built into the code that I'm getting a piece of it. And there's like no limit to what you could program into these things. So something that's, I find so fascinating is you buy it and it comes with benefits, whether it's like you were saying, usage of like an Airbnb. Like, okay, if I buy this NFT of a piece of the beach, right? And now I can go use this to stay at a property owned by my real estate DAO, and I can go stay somewhere, right? Yep. There's just so much creativity. You're really, what you can think of is the limit.
Yeah. I mean, like from access to, I think, and one of the things we're going to see all the way through the bear market, and I keep threatening to start just like an NFT dev studio, and I think I'm going to end up having to do it. It's like that. You could take any business and turn it into an NFT business. You just can. Like there's ways to do that, and you hit on it, right? Like that, the royalties, they don't last for a year. They last for the rest of time, right? So as long as anyone has any value in your collection at all, you're making money. Like that hasn't sunk in for people yet. And right. On the access thing, go ahead.
Let's say that if you think about historically, what artists have had like ownership of their own royalties? Very, very few.
Right. Like the
Michael
few
Jackson, like
right. The few in music get like a tiny percentage of big. The one band we talked to last year, they were in renegotiations for their record contract. They were trying to get money to make their new album. We did an NFT drop for them, and they completely and totally changed how they negotiated, and they got all of their rights for a bunch of stuff back on their new record contract because they self-funded their album because of the NFTs, right? And they barely understand the secondary market to that, right? And so that's going to be all the marbles, I think.
But yeah, that's what I think is just so fascinating with the NFT, like the art and stuff, whatever. It's cute. I mean, I'm not like a real art aficionado. Like,
no, but I mean, somebody was trying to tell me to get a good friend of mine was like, hey, you got to get in on this Bored Ape thing. I'm like, dude, I'm not buying a JPEG for 14 grand. I'm just not going to do it. Like, I just like, because I'm into NFTs with utility, right? Like ours, you could do stuff with them. Like that's just, what this whole.
Can you not do anything with Bored Apes?
Well, here's the thing. Like, and he's like, yeah, but you could like get into these parties. And I'm like, I don't care about that. I was wrong. Like I was just flat out wrong. Right. So the thing, the Bored Ape art is adorable and that's fine. But the whole idea is like you have one of these Bored Apes, you get onto these yacht parties, and the networking on those yacht parties is just like you meet everybody. It's super intense. So it becomes more about developing an exclusive community, that gets ramped up, and you meet and do really cool things. And it's like that's your access, sort of passport to that experience for that community, and that's what the real utility of it is.
Right. You're not going to join dinner clubs anymore or any of those things. You're just going to buy NFTs, which will give you access to.
Right. I've never bought a $250,000 golf thing or whatever, but this is like that for nerds.
Yeah, 100%. And I think it's so it's got so much utility in general in life that it will expand to other areas. It might be a little slow on the uptake, but it'll get there.
Yeah,
it definitely will. So yeah. I'll have to figure out how to have the first NFT CPA firm. You've had some ideas. We'll have to make this happen.
Yeah, I mean, the biggest thing is don't wait. Just start. Just to iterate.
Yeah.
Because we don't know what the best idea is going to be yet. We just got to do something.
Nope. We'll do something.
Yeah.
We'll do something. All right.
Next week. Like.
Well, I'm still in Jersey.
I guess. All right. Maybe next week.
Maybe 2 weeks.
Yeah, well, and we have that our first e-sales on the 16th, so I'm probably going to be head down, kind of getting that ready. But we should get you building as soon as we can, because I can't wait to see the.
Well, it's almost noon, so my 12-year-old might wake up soon, so maybe I could get her to do something.
Yes. Yeah, just let us know if you guys need help, getting in world and on your land. We can
sure.
make it happen.
No, I will just put you in touch with Debbie, because she's 12 and knows how to do all the things.
Brilliant.
And she's adorable.
That's awesome.
Corey, so usually my closeout for these shows is I ask people if they have an unusual hobby or if there's something interesting about them. I'm not going to ask you that. I want to know if there's anything normal and boring about you.
That's fair. Anything normal or boring? All right, so this I don't even
know you have to think about it really hard.
Yeah. The first thing that came up to mind is I'm super embarrassed to say this even out loud, but it's your show. We got to get vulnerable, so I'm gonna do it. My wife and I have seen every episode of Below Deck. Which is just like,
I don't know what that is.
Stupid reality TV with people on yachts, and it's just the people that work on the yachts. Like, it should be dumb.
That sounds amazing.
It really.
No, that sounds amazing.
Right, and I hate reality TV as a thing. Like, I think it's dumb. And my wife got me watching it, and then it was actually during the pandemic, and we were like, well, there's boats in it, so fuck it. And we just, I get all insanely invested in this shit that I know is dumb. Like, I know it's dumb, but. We've gone down the rabbit hole on Below Deck, so that's
nice. I have to check that out.
Yeah,
I do like good. I mean, good, right? Reality TV. Like, yeah. I know none of it's really good, but some of it is more entertaining
gooder than others. Yeah,
gooder. Yeah, some of it's definitely gooder than others.
Yeah,
sure.
It's fun. It's fun, and we like boats, so whatever. Yeah, everything else.
I mean, Florida's a good place to like boats. So
it's right. I mean, yeah, we're in the right place for sure.
For sure. Awesome. Yeah. All right. Well, Corey, thank you. This was a little bit more 15 minutes. That's okay.
Thanks for having me on. Yeah, I was like, man, I barely get warmed up in 15 minutes. Oh,
I know. I was like, all right, we'll let you talk for a while. Most people, I bring them on and they're like, oh my God, I have to talk for 10 minutes. I'm like, it'll be okay. Don't worry. I'll ask you questions. You'll be all right. Most people don't live their life online quite the way you do. But I highly encourage everyone to go check out the UpLift. You will eventually be able to find my little footprint and apparently roller coaster theme park that'll be coming next door to my virtual CPA firm at some point. But
it's super fun.
It's fun. There's some really cool looking stuff. There's some cool videos out there. And if you are not yet into crypto, into NFTs, and I think the NFTs is more interesting. Like, there's 19,000 some ridiculous number of cryptos out there. Not so interesting from the investment, but look at the technology, look what it's doing, check out what people are doing with it. It's the future. It just is. And thank you, Corey, for coming on.
Thanks for having me.
Always fun. Oh, and my favorite, we have happy hours later. Yeah.
Yeah,
Friday.
We're doing the Twitter Spaces 7:00, and we're gonna be meeting in world in the dome where I put up everybody's logo, and have all of their all of our partner projects Twitter accounts on QR codes. So everybody's just gonna come in game and just start sending selfies out to all the Twitter accounts.
That's very cool. Yeah, so I don't know where I shall be. I will likely be on the boardwalk somewhere in Atlantic City at 7. We'll see, but I will hop on again today because it was fun. It's a cool thing.
All right.
Thank you for coming on, and
of course.
We'll see y'all next time.
Yeah.
Wow. All right. Thank you.
Ciao.
Stop live stream.
Hey. Thank you for sticking around. I hope you learned something new. Please leave a comment, like, and subscribe to my channel if you want to continue improving your tax and financial literacy. Bye.